Hey, what's up? This is Ian, and in this video, we're going to talk about how bike friendly it is in East Asia, like Japan, China, Korea, and Taiwan. So, 4 places, and I've lived in all those places. So, right now, we're in Japan. So, we'll talk about Japan first. I'm going to get away from some of this noise, and we'll go check out some of these cool. I don't know what they are. I remember seeing them in Shanghai when I lived there. These ones are monster. These are like 4 or 5 feet tall. Pretty cool. They have flowers too in some spot. But anyways, about Japan's the best place, I think, in my experience. For if you have a bike and you want to get around by bicycle, in my experience, Japan's the best place. There's some bike paths, like I just showed you. In some places, there's bike paths, but you can ride a bike on the sidewalk. Weird thing about Japan is that they drive on the opposite side of the road. Well, depending on where you're from. I'm from the States, so like it's the opposite side of the road that people ride their bike on. So that's kind of weird at first, and it's a little bit dangerous to be honest, because you're just not used to it. But you can ride your bike on the right side, the left side, on the sidewalk. Well, the sidewalk. You can ride your bike on either side. People are definitely like, look, you gotta be careful, but for the most part, people are. This Japan's like pedestrian friendly. Like people are like watching out for you, like drivers and stuff. Now I think it's a totally different ball game. In I'm gonna sit at. Oh, what is that? Is that? I thought it was wet. I guess it's okay to sit on. Shiny. You gotta watch out for um in other places like Korea and China and Taiwan, like pedestrian doesn't really have the right of way. It's like you're like on the bottom of the totem pole, kind of. I mean, there's going to be certain areas where, you know, but you got to watch out. Like seriously, like um, that big. I recently went to Korea like a couple months ago for a visa run, and like you got to watch out because like yeah, it's just different. People are driving and they expect you to get out of the way. They're not gonna get out of your way. They expect you to get out of the way. So yeah, I'm reminded of a story too in China about I guess it's like a driver like ran over a baby, like hit a baby or something like that, and then like I don't know, didn't want to get in trouble or something, and actually like ran over the baby again to kill the baby because I forget why. You can ask about that in the comments, and we can talk about that down there. But um, yeah, it's just a different, it's just different in other countries. Japan's really nice. It's really like I said, people are like watching out for you. Generally, the driving people are like, it's just not as chaotic. Like you go to China, Korea, Taiwan, there's more chaos. So Japan's good. Anything else about riding a bike in Japan that I didn't cover? Sometimes you're supposed to register a bike. I don't have a registered bike, but I think you're supposed to have a registered bike. There's a lot of places to park it. You're not really like disrespected like in some places. Okay, let's go to Taiwan. In Taiwan, I had a bike when I first went there, and like people thought I was like kind of like uncool because I had a bike. Like kind of like it's like kind of like a status thing. Like what? You don't have a scooter? So my first year in Taiwan, I got around by bicycle. But I lived in Taichung my first year, and in Japan, we're in Fukuoka, Japan right now too. But in Taiwan, like where was I? I was in Taichung the first year, and uh, I don't think Taichung's a really nice place, but it's busy and yeah, I don't know. It's not very nice. It's kind of chaotic, and Taiwan's got a ton of scooters, like a ton of scooters. So it's like the streets are chaos. Like one of my friends explained it to me like this: like you have the buses that are like the I'll probably mess this up. What is it like the whales or the few big trucks? It's not like tractor trailers, kind of like the states. They're not really big trucks like that. They're like the whales, like the buses and stuff. And then you have like the cars, and they're kind of like the sharks. And then you have the scooters, and they're kind of like the fish. And then if you're on a bike, then like you're like a minnow. And then if you're a pedestrian, then I don't know what you are, but you gotta watch out. I got hit by a I got hit by a scooter and a couple. I'm getting confused here. I got hit by a car on my bike in Korea once. Um, because people just like cut you off and they're just not paying attention, and like maybe again too, it's a cultural thing. Like they expect you to watch out for them. Um, Taiwan, I got hit on a bike. I wasn't on a bike then, right? I wasn't on a scooter. Yeah, I was got a dude on a scooter hit me on a bike once when I was in Taiwan. I didn't really get hurt or anything, but Taiwan, the streets are kind of crazy like that. The scooters are like piling over on the sidewalks, so it's not a good place really to ride a bike. Like, I mean, I don't think so. My experience. Now you might go and have another experience, which is the same in all these places that I'm going to talk about. But yeah, I didn't think Taiwan was very good. My second year there, I got a scooter, and yeah, because I had to travel like for work quite a ways, and I drove that, and it's just kind of normal. And people, like I said, people kind of like look down on you, like you because you ride a bike, like you're like low status, like it's kind of like I don't know, kind of China, Taiwan. It kind of has that sort of mentality, like I don't know. I call it kind of an industrial mindset. Like, I don't know, maybe because they're not that like developed in some sense that they sort of have like this everybody's coming from poor and trying to get to like rich or something like that. So, oh, like you need a car, but like I don't know. I don't think like that. I don't think people here in Japan think like that. Some people just ride bikes, because it's just nice to ride a bike, China, so Taiwan, yeah, I had a bike a year and a half or something there, and it's all right. It is just sketchy. It's really hot too. Like in the summer, I remember I started off riding my bike to my boss's house, and then she would drive me to work. And wow, it's really hot in Taiwan, like in the summertime. Other than that, yeah, it's gonna depend on the city too a little bit. Some cities are gonna be a little bit more probably bike friendly than others, but in Taiwan you get scooters, and this is like makes the streets kind of crazy. And again, like it's just more chaotic. Like of course, in a place like Taipei, you're gonna have more rules and stuff, but outside of Taipei, there's less rules. There's beetle net stands on the side of the street, and it's just more chaos and stuff like that. Like you might, if you're a male, you might like some of these beetle net stands. Um, but let's see what next. Let's go somewhere else. Let's go to Korea. Korea was I lived in two places. I also lived in Tainan when I was in Taiwan. That's when I had both. I didn't have a bike there. I had a scooter there. So I don't really remember. I think the bike was only in Taichung. So Taichung. But Korea, let's go to Korea. So Korea, I lived in Busan and Changwon. In Busan, I didn't have a bike. I just got around by foot and subway. Busan's a big city. I think now, kind of like looking back, I was just there like maybe a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. It's not really nice, a place I'd want to ride a bike, to be honest with you. It's like I was living before I came back to Japan. I was living in San Francisco, and sometimes I thought about getting a bike, but it's just too big. Like some cities are too big. It seems too dangerous. So yeah, I didn't have a bike in Busan, but then when I went to Changwon had something cool. They had like a public bike system. Now this was like a long time ago too. This was like 10 years ago. When did I live in Changwon? I was in like Changwon like maybe like 2010, around then. And they had a pretty cool public bike system where you pay like $20 a month, and they have all these bike stations where you can go, and you just pick up a station, you drive it to another station. They're located around the city. That was great. And Changwon was like kind of easygoing city. So you could borrow a bike for like the day and then just, yeah, good system. That was good. Other places in Korea might have that kind of thing going on too. I just saw some video. When I was in China, I didn't ride a bike. I was in Shanghai, again, like big, crazy city. I didn't have a bike when I was there. I got around by subway. I don't think I'd want to have a bike there. Also, like big, kind of crazy city. Um, Now there might be something like, I don't know about Shanghai. They might have some sort of public bike system, kind of like I mentioned in Taiwan. And I know I was watching some video about Shenzhen. They have some sort of public bike system there that you can get around on, which is probably like the one in Changwon where you pay a certain amount of money and you drive the bike around state. They get a lot of those now. Like San Francisco, they have those too and stuff. So you can get around. So that's pretty good. So I don't know if you like to ride a bike. Um, yeah, you could do it. I just say keep in mind that, man, like this is a different mindset. Aside from Japan, I'd say the other place, like pedestrian doesn't don't assume the pedestrian has. You got to be real defensive out there. Like, yeah, like I said, like some places people just they're driving, and you got to watch out for them. It's not like you're a pedestrian, you get the privilege to walk and stuff like that. And of course, here in Japan too, there's lights and stuff, and like in East Asia, I'd say in general, most East Asians are very rule sort of like following, and like, you know, they got to stop at the lights. You don't see very many people go through the lights like I do sometimes. Like, I don't always stop at a light. If there's no cars coming, I'm gonna go. Um, but most like East Asians are gonna like stop and wait, even if there's no cars around. Like I remember once, I'm reminded of like, so I used to live in San Francisco near Chinatown, and I had a friend. She was from, she's from Guangdong, China, and so she's in San Francisco, and we are we are walking, and there's no cars around. We're on Grant Avenue in Chinatown, San Francisco, which isn't that busy to begin with. Late at night, and she stops. There's no cars around anywhere at the light, and just waits. There's no cars anywhere, and she just waits. I'm like, what? But I'd say that's kind of normal. In Asia, like I said, people are a little more obedient, sort of rule following and stuff. But there's always exceptions. Anyways, thanks for watching. Yes, so